is going on, everybody? It's your boy Brendan aka Drip, back with another video. In today's video, we had a requested Invoked list. As you all know, I made a post last week talking about Invoked and if anybody would want to see new Invoked content. And ironically, like a lot of you guys really wanted to see some Invoked content, which was really nice to see. That a lot of you guys are fans of this deck as much as I am, and so made it put more initiative to me to be able to make this deck profile and in-depth discussion. Just a heads up, this is not going to be a normal deck profile. This is going to be a in-depth discussion for the format, because I played it at locals and I played it online a lot. I got more matchups against meta online than I did in at locals. So yeah, so this is going to be a longer video. So if you want, just fast forward if you just want the list. But other than that, I'm going to be talking about my reasonings for cards, what they help you with, and where I think this deck stands against like meta decks and some of the other decks in the format. What decks are really rough matchups for this deck and everything else. But other than that, let's go ahead and get into this deck profile. If you don't mind, please hit the like button. Check the description for all the ways to support me: the merch store, Patreon, Discord. Become a member of the Discord fam, and I'd love you for it. One thing I will say too is this deck is going back to its roots in the form of what it was before we got the Shadows Light package and all that. This list is basically as cookie cutter as it gets, because we're in a hand trap format, and to be able to fit all the hand traps, you can't run the Shadows Light package. So heads up, I'm not running that. I think that package is good, but you need to be able to go second with this deck, and that Shadows Light cutting off you from your battle phase really sucks. On top of that, all it does is help you build a board, and it also thins out your grind game because it takes up so much space in the extra deck. I love that version. There will come a time for us to be able to run that build again. I just don't think it's this format. This is basically when we first got Dogmatika is what this list kind of is. Remind you of. We got 3 Alistair, no less, no more, unfortunately. But we technically have more with 3 Meltdown, and then still on 2 Invocation. I was on 1 for a hot minute, but Runic is a deck, and if they banish this off the top of your deck, then you just die. So if it wasn't for Runic being around, then I would probably cut this to 1, even though I know this is the old school ratio. But sometimes, like, you'll see another reason why I would cut this down to 1. I'll mention it later. So the extra fuse doesn't really come up that much. Yeah, right until Runic goes away or whatever, we're probably going to stay on this old school ratio. That's it. It's 2023 and people still forget / don't know what Alistair does, and it's hilarious. Definitely with his buff effect, it's hilarious that they just try to attack over my fusions, and I just buff them, and it's a non-once per turn. Shaddoll lineup is going to be a lot different. Sorry if I move the camera. The Shaddoll lineup is going to be a lot different from what you're used to seeing come from me, and I will explain it as we go. This right here is already starting out being different from what you normally see from me. But like I said, I'll explain it all in a second. 2 Windy, 1 Dragon, 1 Beast, 1 Falco, 1 Aerial. Yes, if you haven't noticed, I went back to my old ratio of 8. And I am not running Hedgehog. Hedgehog is a very solid card, yes, but I feel whatever this deck already plays into freaking Droll heavily anyways. So you want to minimize that. So whatever Hedgehog can get you, you can just dump off of Construct or the Squam to be able to get it back from graveyard. So like if you're wanting to get a Shaddoll fusion, you could dump it with this or Construct and just add it back. The main thing about this build is you just want to keep fusing. Just fuse. Just keep fusing, and because that's the most important part. Because the more Shaddoll fusion monsters you can put out there, the faster you can get all your resources from grave. So I kind of build this deck to be able to resource itself from the graveyard, then and minimize your play from the deck to hand as much as possible. Granted, there's only so much you can do to minimize like the Droll's impact, basically. too windy, even though heads up, I'm not running Raijin. So I still think windy's very solid. The only thing I think I would cut here is the second windy for Nest Shaddoll Genius, because resolving a Shaddoll Fusion, making App Clone, sending a Shaddoll Genius and like a Windy or an Aerial is so freaking impactful. It like makes your Shaddoll Fusion feel like a +10 almost, playing into a board. So other than that, but then again, I like Windy at 2, so I don't know. But I don't own a Genius. That's another reason why I decided to run a second Windy, because in theory these four right here are the ones that I want to see in my hand at all times, at least with this build. So yeah, and then Dragon is Dragon, Beast is Beast, Falco is underrated. People don't run it because they're bad stall players. I love you. And then Ariel is just freaking insane. This format is a triple D.D Crow, being like resolving or sending an Ariel against a tier limit matchup. This is coming from me. I'm a tier limit player too. Is just so absurd. Definitely when they get half of their deck in their graveyard and you just force out their shufflers, because you just go target both shufflers and like a um, uh, Destiny Hero Malicious or their Rhino Heart or something, and force a shuffler out. It's just insane. Other than that, that's basically my Shaddoll lineup. I am playing L Shaddoll Fusion. That's another reason why I upped my account back to 8. As for the dog package, Starlight, not Quarter Century, the OG, Fleur. I will get the Quarter Centuries probably next time I do this video. But yeah, this is the lineup. I thought about playing the Maximus package, but there's still too much brain dead running around, aka branded fusion decks. So, but you don't need it. Hand traps. Had to have hand traps to play this game, unfortunately. 3, 9 total. The reason why I'm on Valor is because the whatchamacallit, thrust is not as like seen as it's not seen as much play as it has in the previous formats. So and this is a light to help you make construct. I think Droll, if you're not playing Droll in the main, unless you're playing tier limit, then you're just losing unnecessary duels that you don't need to lose. This card is too mandatory this format, so you have to play it. And Ash is just generic and just hits anything and everything, even if it's not a good 1-for-1 trade. It's still there, and every deck plays into it. But you have to respect the emergency for a rescue ace. I'm still on the Golden Daddy. Golden Lord's a very good light target, and people still to this day get like all freaked out when they see me send that or they mill it or something else. As for spells, 3 Shaddoll Fusion, 1 L. The L is like, I don't know, it's random, but like I said, I just want to keep fusing. So like if I have the Shaddoll Fusion in hand and I have 2 dolls in hand and they like ash this, then my 2 dolls are bricks. But if I have this in hand too, then they're fine. It's live still. And L Shaddoll Fusion to help push for game is really cool too, this format. So like I said, with all my deck profiles, a lot of cards that you see in my list are all format based. So just because they're in my list one format doesn't mean they're going to be in my list in the next format. Generic spells. Excuse my mixed rarity of collectors and freaking ultra. I'm a bad kid. Sorry. Not only that, I don't want to invest in this card because I think it's going to be a hit eventually. So I pulled these. That's why I run mixed rarity. 2 Prost. You'll never resolve a third one, and if you never need the second one, even if you had it in hand, then it's just a Golden Lord target. That's another reason. That's another thing to keep in mind too about Golden Lord and your unnecessary extra spells and traps. 1 Sack by the Grave, because hand traps are annoying. Droll and Lockbird's annoying. Hand traps are just annoying. So sack by is sack by. Then last 2 cards in the main is Ulti Schism. Shoutouts to Rarity Collection, and the Rest Shaddoll and Reincarnation. This card is disgusting. It's so good. 2023 dolls, you definitely need to be playing it. Extra deck. Extra deck's very like standard and straightforward. There's only one thing I'll change, and I'll mention it when we get there. As for links, we got Artemis. Gravity Controller is still mandatory. I don't care. I don't know why people aren't running it. Dark the Dark Charmer because it's free real estate. It's basically terraforming. It searches your Alistair and gets you out of sticky situations, and it helps you turbo out this card to make it more impactful. SP Little Knight, every single deck should be running it. If your deck has an extra deck, then you need to be running it. That's it for the Link monsters. Um, Moving on to the fusions, people are going to be happy about this because this is old school. So, 2 construct. Ignore the fact they're not first editions. Please don't roast me for having ultis and not first editions. 2 of the best Shaddoll ever printed. I don't care. Can't change my mind. I love Avalon. The card's disgusting. This is where a lot of people are going to be happy. The second window. 2 window actually comes up a lot this format, bro. And I'm not even talking like before. Yeah, I mentioned in my previous profiles that like, yo, Resh is their second window. Yeah, that's very true. But like, there's so much crap going around now that can out your window easily, and summon a window in defense position in this format, and then in this Yu-Gi-Oh economy sucks because they just out that chick real freaking quick, and you just basically go neg. But that's it for the Shaddolls. 2 Makava, old school. 1 of Goides. 2023, and people still don't know what the hell Kaliga does. It's hilarious. It's hilarious. This is your bird shit killer. This kills Flunderees. Feels good. They can't really get over it. Feels nice. But and then the last card is 1 Purg because it's a fire, and there's so much fire going around. You can snipe something against like Vanquish Souls. You can, if they have an R recycled, they're raising, and you can snipe their raising out of the graveyard. It's not that good against Rescue Ace, but it's there if you need it because they are fire. Granted, whatever you banish, they can just get back by summoning it if you destroy like their Turbulence or whatever, or they can recycle it with their HQ. It's not that impactful or whatever, but it's there if you need it. I think it's more impactful this format than the Raijin, because the only thing Raijin's really good at right now is booking like a Turbulence. That's the most value you're going to get off of that. Maybe like against Vanadium, you can book their Visa Starfrost. Other than that, it's not very impactful. This is a tournament deck, so I will show you my extra deck, and I honestly think, hands down, this is the best side deck that you can play for Invoked this format. Like, there's not a single card that I would change in this side deck, and I don't think you should change it either. Nib, you need to be playing Nib. A combination of Nib and Droll this format, you have to be playing it. There's just no way around it. And in this card right here, there's definitely no way around this because going second with Alistair is just a hand trap magnet and a contain magnet from Rescue Ace, Imperm, Valor, etc., etc. Or even like a random book card because book cards are running around, or a Fenrir. Everybody and their mother has Fenrir in their deck now, so they just go target your Alistair. And if they target your Alistair, then your invocation's freaking dead. So you just gotta yeet your Alistair out there and just steal whatever's high value. And then this card's so like underrated, it's insane. Forbidden Lance, it's very good against Imperm. It's very good against Rescue Ace when they try to extinguish or contain your stuff. And then against Labyrinth, it's very nice too when they try to either compulse or Druma Cannon or whatever the case may be. So it's very nice. Yeah, let me make some room here. Lightning Storm and Duster because screw Rescue Race, screw Labyrinth, screw Dynamorphia, all those decks. And then the last 3 cards in the side deck, same thing. Screw Rescue Ace, screw Labyrinth, and screw Dynamorphia. And Salad, I guess, too. Everything. This deck hits everything except for like Pearly or Tearlament or something. If a good Tearlament player would not get hit by that. If their mills went right. Other than that, that's basically it for the main, extra, and side deck. Now, that's it for the deck. Now we can start talking about the discussion. So if you want to hang around for the more in-depth discussion, then go ahead. This deck is very solid right now. The bad matchups like make the deck feel worse than it is in the format, so you just can't get discouraged. Invocation being our graveyard is really nasty. This format, I think. So there's that. But the bad matchups is Flandres going second into their board. Flandres, Pearly can be okay slash bad, but that's another thing I want to talk about with Forbidden Lance. Forbidden Lance is there for Pearly mainly, but it just like all the targeting spells and traps from all the other decks like get caught in the crossfire because like they it's for Pearly because like against Pearly if they don't draw the Delicious Memory they can't get to Big Noir on turn one, so they have to wait until turn two, and even if they have Street up, if you side this in against them, when they go wait for them to go Yeep, which is their trap card targeting the Little Noir to make Big Noir, let them draw all they want. Let them draw all they want. Just wait until they activate Yeep and you just go Lance, target the Little Cat. Then they can't make Big Cat on you. And then after that, you just kill them. Out their back row, aka my friend Pearly, and then you just like break the rest of the board. Got to get rid of my friend first. You get rid of my friend, then you break the rest of the board and you just win. But Pearly's not that bad. But a lot of the decks that you play against this format with Invoked, you have to be able to see some form of your non-engine to be able to play through it. Unfortunately, the deck in the case is starting to kind of feel like Sword Soul. Shout out to my fellow Sword Soul players. What I mean by that is Sword Soul is a very good deck and it's very consistent, but the only issue is you can't play into boards unless you see your non-engine. That's another reason why I reverted this deck back to the old school way of running it, because you can maximize more hand traps in this build than you can in other builds. So this version can max out to 9 to 12 hand traps. The other three slot, I'm playing 9 right now. The other three slots are the Prosperity and or Called By or the El Shaddoll Fusion, which any combination of those could be your other three. But I decided to play more consistency cards because if in theory if I all the other hand traps that I run are high impact besides probably Ash this format. Veiler is very impactful if you time it properly, and then Droll is just killer. I thought maybe if I saw one of my high impact hand traps and plus more consistency, that the high impact will be enough for me to stop them, and then I can break the board with consistency. So there's that. Um, the worst matchup that you will have with this deck will hands down be Vanadium. That deck just runs off freaking Diesel, and there's no way to stop it. Going second, like if you're going second against them, there's no way to stop them. Going first, you have a very solid matchup, but going second against them, if it's basically almost boils down to they have to brick or you have to draw Droll. If you don't draw Droll, even if you draw Veiler Ash, even if you time those properly, 9 times out of 10, a good Canadian player would just play right through both of them, and it's very, very painful to endure. But which is very frustrating considering how popular Canadian is getting. But Rescue Ace is actually not that bad against Rescue Ace. The only time Rescue Ace is bad if they're playing the Jet Synchron and they were able to actually get Baron and Savage with set 5. That's the only time that matchup will be rough. But at that point, no matter what deck you're playing, you're not probably playing through that regardless. So even if they end on 1 negate plus their set 5, maybe even a hand trap, if you open very well, you're going to play through that entire board. So definitely if you have Meltdown Live, because if you have Meltdown Live and you go like Shaddoll Fusion, make constructs, send like Aerial plus Dragon or something, pop a random back row, they can't respond to anything. So their back row's gone. You triple D to Crow, get rid of their emergency in the graveyard so they can't banish it to reset their traps, and then you're just free. You're just free. You're just free to keep playing. Or if you have Meltdown Live and they have like a Savage or Baron and they didn't negate the Meltdown, because I play against a lot of players who don't negate Meltdown. I don't understand why. And you resolve the Shaddoll Fusion, that's where another reason where it gets really nasty with the Shaddoll Genius, because even if they had the double negate board, let's say they had double negate board, and for some reason they let Meltdown resolve, you go Shaddoll Fusion, send Wendy and a Genius, make Abclone target one of their monsters, negate Wendy, summon the chain, and then chain 3 Genius to target the Baron. Then you turned off both of their negates with just one Shaddoll Fusion. It's insane. So like the rescue ace matchup is not that bad going first or second. Going first, you're really nice. You're big chilling because if you end on the old school line of Kaliga with Schism set to be able to make Winda, the only way they can really out that is that if they have an emergency to be able to summon like a preventer or something, because even if they hard make preventer, then it activates as not an inherent summon, so they won't be able to use preventer's effect to book of Moon or Kaliga. So they have to burn the emergency to bring out the preventer or whatever. So I don't even know if they can even do that. I think they can. I'm pretty sure they can, but yeah, that's the only way they can really out that board going second, and you just have so much resources in hand because you didn't burn nothing because you're a mid range deck. Other than that, everything else is like it just depends on what you draw and what they draw. Those are just the main ones, the main decks that are going around right now that you have to look out for. Tier limit, a good Shaddoll player will with this build will be able to beat a tier limit player. Um, like I'm not trying to sound cocky because I hate like compliment myself or anything like that, but since I'm very well established with both decks, I have yet to lose a match with this list against a tier limit player because I know both decks in and out. So this deck indirectly is built not directly for it; it's indirectly built for that matchup. Your mills will match their mills one for one almost. The only time they'll be more impactful is if they mill a shuffler, but even then, it's fine. Um, but your mills will basically match in one for one, but you can main deck more hand traps / go second cards than them, and you have almost as many one card combos starters as they do. Granted, theirs for the most part are kind of more impactful, and they have a lot more of a grind in this kind of a format because they can extend faster. It's just your one card starters kind of lock you more, if that makes sense. That's the reason why you can kind of get blown out um, faster than them. That's why they have more gas. But with against this deck, you will match them basically one for one. One thing I wanted to mention too, if you're still here, then shout outs to you. The Purgatorio, if you have the money or you have the ability to do so, take it out for a second Little Knight. I'm not even kidding. When I did that, the deck got so much more consistent at breaking boards. It's insane because you have to think because this is a mid range deck. You are not going to be able to break his boards as consistently and as fast and as good as like Vanadium or Tier Element or something like that. So you need all the ability you can get. Attacking directly doesn't matter. We want to break boards and establish dominance. Then we'll kill you with Invoked. So the second Little Knight comes up a lot. I just don't have a spare $100 to drop right now for a second Little Knight. But other than that, that's basically it. This deck's very good. It's very consistent. Side deck is, oh my god, chef's kiss, perfect. But yeah, give it a try. I think this is the best version of the deck right now. And moving forward, it's going to be the best version until we get a big shift in the meta. So, and what's really nice too is everything on here is pretty much safe from the ban list. If you wanted to pick up this deck for old time's sake and take it to an event and play, then I think you're in a very good situation to do so. As long as you can dodge Vanadium and birds, I think you'll be all right. But other than that, I think that's it for the deck profile and the discussion video. I don't want to keep you guys here too long. If you made it this long, then shout outs to you. I love you guys so much for being true fans and coming to show out and hanging out with me while I ramble and talk about puppets, aka shaddolls. But with that being said, I love you guys so much. Please hit the like button if you haven't already. Check the description for all the ways to support me and be on the lookout for future videos. I'm going to not be posting probably that much here on Thanksgiving because I'll be out of town, but I'm going to try to get a couple videos stacked up so we can do so. But I love you guys so much, and your boy Brent, aka Drip, sign out to next time. Peace. Good dueling, my guys.